Yeah, hello. Welcome to Aging Well, Eating Well, podcast hosted by Mary Merheim. I'm excited today because we're kicking off. This will be the first episode ever. Um, so I'm here, I'm Jamie. I'm here today helping Mary just to kick off her first episode. So I'll just be here to ask her some questions and really to draw out her story. And so you can get an introduction to her and what she's about. Um, so, Mary, how are we doing?
Hello, Jamie. Yeah, I'm really good today, enjoying the sunny weather that we seem to be having unusually in this country.
Oh yeah, I think it's we're due to have weather like this all week, so looking
Mm.
forward to it. So, Mary, what drew you then to elderly nutrition?
Well, to be honest, I didn't know a huge amount of about nutrition. I'd been a teacher for many years, teaching kids with, particularly with autism, really. And then I took some time out to look after my father, who was approaching his last few years. And
Mm.
although he wasn't particularly sick or struggling with any health issues, he'd just lost his appetite really, and he'd been a great foodie. He'd really enjoyed the scientific process of cooking, and then he enjoyed very good food, and suddenly that all just went, and I was at a bit of a loss to know what to do. So did some research and had a look on the internet, and sadly sort of hints and tips for people over, shall we say, 60, 65, on what they should be eating and what nutritional content and what calories they should be eating was woefully lacking, really. So,
Mm.
although thankfully I could help him a little bit, he did um, fall off the cliff, not literally, um, when he was 90. And then after that, I just carried on researching and wanted to share what I'd learnt with other people, because I discovered it was a huge problem. You know, when you're dealing with it yourself, when you've got somebody who's older, you just kind of look inward and you think it's just him or her and it's just your little issue, but actually this is a huge problem throughout the country, that people, older people, lose their appetites, become weak, and it causes all sorts of problems. And that's it, really.
Okay. So would you say this is the kind of the main struggle that people face is not knowing what to do?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as we get older, there's all sorts of health issues and mobility issues, and lots of factors that will naturally cause decline as we age. But there seems to be a huge lack of awareness, really, in professionals as much as the general public, what an impact eating well, or conversely eating poorly, can do on those illnesses and frailties and things.
So, regarding that, how do you see the state of elderly nutrition?
Well, um, shockingly, I keep coming across different statistics and research. And even a few years ago, 1 in 10 people over 65 in this country was on the sort of on the verge of or had malnutrition, which is absolutely shocking, because 65 is no age and 1 in 10 is a huge amount. You know,
Hmm.
you're looking at probably most of the people that live alone. Um, it's so obvious that we eat a lot worse when we're on our own as opposed to when we're making it a sociable meal. Um, and yeah, it's nationwide, and it has such a huge impact on the NHS.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of people living alone more than ever. We're having more elderly relatives staying at home or being looked after by those by their kids. What you call you've told me they're called the sandwich generation.
Yes, the sandwich
And
generation has it really, really hard, because most older
mm,
people, so the people we're talking about who are struggling to eat are probably 70 plus. So their children are probably 35 to 50.
Mm.
They, on the whole, will probably be bringing up their own family as well, and having jobs and careers, and there's so much pressure on people to do absolutely everything, and it is very easy for an older relative to slip through the net.
Yeah, absolutely. So where would you come in then when it comes to filling that need?
Well, I'm there to support the family, and I don't want to preach, and I don't want to um, come in and say, your mother needs to be eating this, this, and this, even though she's never eaten it in her life. I come in and support the family who are in the same position that I was. That suddenly
Mm.
the person, or even slowly, they realize that somebody is just not eating a broad spectrum of food and not eating enough, and is looking frail and gaunt. And it's not something we are prepared for, really. So I come in and support the family, look at what has gone in the past, obviously talk to the older relative, and just give tweaks and hints and tips of ways that you can up the nutrition of what that person is actually eating now, and increase their appetite. There are so many tricks of the trade that I've learned along the way. I was a dementia and end of life doula for a few years, and again, it's just little tweaks that sometimes make all the difference.
Absolutely. So when it comes to some of these tweaks and these struggles, could you give some examples?
Yes, of course. um, I'm a big fan of Marvel. Now, Marvel is dried milk powder. It's kind of everybody, well, not everybody, but some people have got an old, out of date, probably by 10 years, tin in the back of their cupboard for when the milk runs out. But actually, if you make it into a creamy paste, you can add
Mm.
it to hot drinks, you can add it to soups, um, ready meals, custard, all sorts of things. And it just adds more protein, more calcium, more vitamin A, and more vitamin D without somebody really noticing.
Mm.
That's
Okay.
my one thing. And other options, I'm always a big advocate for eggs, because eggs are really easy to eat. They are very easy and quick to prepare. And gone are the Edwina curry days, so you can eat as many eggs as you want. You're probably too young to know what I'm talking about, Jamie, but the people who might be listening will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. Okay, cool. So, what are the some other things that you might be helping, some struggles that your clients might be
But
working through that you need help
yeah,
with?
I know how emotionally draining it can be when you've got a relative who's not eating particularly well. So it's very easy for both sides to get quite stressed during a mealtime or just a visit. Please eat that. I don't really want to, but you must. I don't want you to tell me what to do. And so I hopefully give families a few more tools and some ideas on how to manage meal times and make them less daunting and make them a much more positive experience.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, because I suppose when you have an elderly parent who's kind of been the boss of you,
Yeah.
if when you were a kid, then
Yeah.
dynamic switching completely and you telling them what to do can be a bit strange.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really, really hard one, and one that I think older people dread coming. I think
Mm.
well, we all dread coming, not even older, but you dread the day when you are not the matriarch or the patriarch of the family, and actually you are the old person that other people come and look after. We're talking about people that might have been captains of industry or university lecturers, or just hugely independent, and they still feel the same person inside their brain, but you know, the body is conspiring against them, and now they become dependent on, as you say, on the whippersnappers and the children that they brought up.
Mm. Okay, yeah. So we're talking about, how to get everyone working together in a way that benefits everyone so that no one's stepping on anyone's toes, and so that the both the elderly loved one can age
Mm-hmm.
gracefully
Mm.
with good nutrition, and so that, the child,
Mm.
although it's not a child anymore, can feel comfortable and confident in that as well,
Yeah,
and support.
yeah, I mean, I think, you know, even just, I say this often to people, you know, you depersonalize it, you know, because they come and talk to me, they can then say, well, Mary suggested we try this, rather than
Mm,
I want you to try this. It sort of gives it a bit more validation, and it takes away the one-to-one sort of confrontation situation. Um, so yeah, that's quite often a way of doing it. You know, oh my goodness, I was talking to so and so, and she suggested that instead of sandwiches, we just put something on toast, because if you look at a sandwich, 2/3 of that is bread, and the bit that can really give you the nutrition and the good bit is the bit in the middle.
mm,
So you might as well just have one slice of bread so that you can put it into your mouth, but adding the extra slice of bread on the top makes you fills you up with the less nutritious part.
mm. And even if, if it's on a bit of toast, they could just eat what's on top, and
Yeah,
that's what they need anyway,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely. Yeah,
It's so from what I'm getting here, it's the little tweaks that make all the difference. Hmm.
absolutely. It certainly is. As I said, that nobody likes change. I always find it really difficult. Um, I don't know if you've come across, or the listeners have come across, the yogurt drinks that the sort of health professionals have in their armory. They are, you know, they're high calorie, supposedly highly nutritious yogurt drinks when someone's gone off their food.
Mhm.
I find it really hard to give it to people, because I very rarely have come across people that really enjoy them.
Mhm.
They're drinking them as a chore, and they're not natural. You know, that my big thing is that our bodies are designed to get our nutrition from wholesome food. And if you start doing pills and potions, it's not going to do you any harm as such. But if your digestive system isn't as strong as it was, it's not going to
Mm.
digest those very well.
Mm. Okay. And speaking about kind of the degradation in digestion systems and everything like that, you mentioned that it was 1 in 10 over 65 are dealing with malnutrition. Am
Yeah,
I correct?
shocking, isn't it?
Um, so, what are the signs to look for?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I suppose there's the obvious sign of weight loss. You know, that's a big giveaway. You know, if somebody's looking gaunt in the face, or the clothes aren't fitting, or the trouser belt's looking a little bit, you know, the flappy bits looking a bit longer, is an obvious sign. But you can still be a normal weight and yet not nourishing your body. So there are other signs that you can look for, that somebody's not getting the nutrition they need. Your skin and your hair can go even more dry. Nails go brittle. Um, Even irritability and depression. If you're hungry, or we've all joke about being hangry. That doesn't stop when you get older. Um, and other things like, just even in the early stages, you know, people that stop driving at night because their night vision's not so good. That could be down to the poor nutrition that they're putting into their bodies, or joint pain or pains, or sores around the mouth. I mean, it's a really grey area, because we all just assume that's a natural part of aging, and I'm making no promises that I can reverse any signs of aging. But if we can keep people stronger for longer, if we can keep their muscle mass up, if we can just keep their strength a bit longer, then they're not going to have that fall and they're not going to end up in hospital. So if you can just start seeing some signs where somebody's not looking as well as they were, yes, of course, start thinking about, is there something physically wrong with them? But what we often fail to do is think about, is this caused by the fact that, dad only eats custard creams at night now?
Okay. And you mentioned the whole hangriness. So on that, you can paint a picture of like the emotional reality that all of this causes for everyone involved.
Well, it's really hard, isn't it? I mean, I think, and again, I'm more focusing on people who live alone. But so there is the sort of the depression and the loneliness, and we're all guilty of it. I am. I mean, when I'm alone, I'll grab and go. But if I've got family round, I'll make a proper meal. I mean, and that carries on in later life. So if every day you're on your own and you're not able to open wrappers or whatever, you're what you eat narrows and narrows and narrows. That is safe and easy to eat. Um, and that just plays a toll on your mental health. And so you're feeling that life isn't as good as it was. You're not enjoying food anymore. You're feeling guilty because perhaps your son's come round and he's brought a lasagna and you really don't want to eat it, and he's disappointed that you don't want to eat it. And there's a whole spiral of fear and anxiety and sadness and worry involved when somebody starts to become frail and their what they eat changes. I mean, we
Mm,
there's such a joy in eating up until that point. Food is a celebration. We always eat with other people when we're celebrating a wedding, or when you have visitors round, you make a feast. Food is social and it's a celebration. And when it becomes a chore, and unpleasant, because your tastes change, it's really sad. And
mm.
again, I want to emphasize, this isn't everybody. I've talked to people and they go, well, my father's still got a great appetite at 96. Brilliant, great. That's wonderful to hear, but that doesn't happen to everybody.
Mm, absolutely. And for those who are affected, I guess it's the fact that food is just it's what sustains us. It's something
Mm.
that it's a thing we partake in our entire life. So
Yeah.
when that starts to wear down, it can be quite distressing, I assume.
Oh, well, I mean, you are what you eat. If
Yeah.
you're young and you're eating healthily and you're eating lots of protein, you get stronger. If you eat rubbish and fish and chips every day, your muscle mass will be poorer, and you'll have nutritional and vitamin deficiencies. And that doesn't
Mm,
change as we get older. If you're putting the
mm,
good stuff in, you will still be healthier than the person who's not eating well.
mm, mm. And I guess it's not just emotional for the person who's aging, it's the child as well, it's the caregiver.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's frustrating. I mean, I think
Mm,
people spend an awful lot of money. Oh, mum, try this, my dad, try that. And it's all being rejected. And you're doing your best because the tables have turned, and it's not just as hard for the parent, it's hard for the so-called child to change their role, and to be assertive, and maybe they think they're doing it wrong. It's this change of role is really, really hard. And when you wrap it up in something that is so vital like food, it becomes a proverbial battleground sometimes.
mm, absolutely, absolutely. So thank you for that. So considering this is your podcast, Mary, what kind of topics do you think we're going to cover in the next episodes to come?
Oh gosh. Well, I like to talk about why people lose their appetite. Sometimes it's something really simple. So if we can get into the meatiness of why somebody's lost their appetite, and there are a multitude of reasons, from false teeth not fitting to dementia. And if I can talk about all those and sort of try and work our way around each of those, that would hopefully be helpful to a wide group of people.
Mm.
And I want to talk about, these simple little tweaks that you can make. If you have time to listen to me chatting with somebody about how we can change things, then hopefully it will be useful. I'd love to talk to a lot of people that are in the situation, looking after a loved one. Care professionals, social prescribers are great. They're attached to pretty much every surgery, and their role is to support families with sort of non-medical health issues. And yeah, just and even sort of talk about some proper recipes and other things as well. We've got hydration as another huge topic which we can delve into in more depth. And also what equipment is out there to help somebody sustain their independence for as long as possible.
Fantastic. So thank you for that. Who would you say that this podcast is really for?
Well, I think it's for people that were in my position in 2018. So it's for people who have an older parent, are worried about them, are possibly not living with them, but want to know how they can help to keep their older relative stronger for longer.
Fantastic. And those particular people tuning in regularly, what do you feel they're going to walk away with? What value are you giving them
Well,
to tune in?
hopefully they will have meal times that are less stressful. They will have the knowledge to know which battles to fight. They will have just the little tweaks and hints that I can come up with that won't cost the earth, and that they'll have the confidence to experiment and try. And some things won't work. Some people have changed their taste so much that what they always used to love is never going to be something that you can feed them from going forward. But just to give some people the confidence to know that at least they are supporting in the right way. And I think that's all we want to do. We all know, sadly, that our parents are going to die. But if we can give them that opportunity to keep independent and have a decent quality of life and enjoy their food, then I think as a child, you've done a great job. And I think that will resonate with quite a lot of people.
Fantastic. No, that's really good. Thank you for coming to talk to me today, Mary. And I'm looking forward to hearing the following episodes. So hopefully we can get some more guests on as well. So
Yeah.
thanks for listening, everyone. If you resonate with this message and would like some more help and guidance, then go to Mary's website at www.marymerheim.co.uk, where she has a masterclass you can sign up for. If you're in real need of help straight away, then please follow to the website. You can book a discovery call where you can talk to Mary and get a better insight into your situation and where we could offer you a solution. Also, like and follow the podcast and look forward to more episodes. So thank you, Mary, and looking forward to it.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for interviewing me as well on my first one. That was very exciting.
Yeah, no worries. Cool.